Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Day In, Day Out podcast. Woo! Today on episode 154, I have to say, I was very lucky, privileged, and happy to have Kawani on the podcast. He is, how can I put it? He is a gym, like he owns 3 gyms. He's a master trainer, and we talked about a number of different things. We talked about how he found fitness, basically how the pandemic affected him as a business owner, and especially of a business owner of 3 gyms as well. And we talked about, his podcast, how he basically got that started and what he expects for the future. His podcast is called ValueVerse. And I got to say, I had a very good time with this gentleman. I look forward to speaking to him again in the future on many different occasions. And please sit back, enjoy the show. Don't forget, subscribe to the podcast, and have a great day. Until then, be awesome, be excellent, and enjoy the show. Peace. Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Day In, Day Out podcast. Woo! Today on episode 154, I have Kawan Karadaghi. At least I got that right.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay. I was worried about that, but nevertheless, he is. How can I put it? He is a podcaster who has a podcast called ValueVerse. ValueVerse. Dear me, I am out of it today. ValueVerse. He is also a business owner. He owns 3 gyms. And wow, I got to say, he's also a master trainer amongst many other things. How are you today, sir?
Wow, what an introduction. Thank you, Mio. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. Love your energy, love the show and the work you're putting out there.
Yeah, you know what? I've got to say thank you very much for that complimentary and introduction from yourself. I'm going to have to send you money at some point in the form of a check. I'm not too sure how that check's going to go. Wherever you do, don't try to cash it in the next 5 years, maybe 10. But it will bounce nevertheless. I have to say thank you very much for reaching out to me. I've got to say you are an interesting cat, and you've had most really a very interesting year and a bit from the standpoint of what you do as a business. How did you come to own 3 gyms? I say that.
Yeah, that's a great question, and it merits a longer story there. I wish I could take credit for the entire thing, but I owe a lot of it to, my business partners, Dan, David, my mentors, Josh, George, and, Andrew there. They helped me kind of become who I am. And I stumbled upon fitness and working out. I was a big, party animal guy. I hung out all the time. I smoked a pack a day. And I was just basically directionless for a long period of my life. And I had a calling. As a mentor, Jacques Wilson at the time, got me into acting, right? He said, "Hey man, why don't you try this acting? You ever thought about being an actor?" And I always tell people that the questions that people ask you sort of leads you to the answers of your life, right? It always takes somebody that takes an interest in you to say, "Hey, you can do a little bit better," or, "Hey, I see something in you." And when you believe that and you run with it, it's life-changing. So I pursued acting, and obviously I'm not famous yet, so I didn't really go far with that. But it was the vehicle that led me to stumble on fitness. So I met mentors along the way that sort of helped me make better choices. And I left alone the smoking and the partying a little bit. And I got into just bettering myself daily, right? Just the name of this podcast was Day In and Day Out. Every day I took it upon myself to collect small wins in, things that I did with my health, with my fitness, with, anything that I wanted to see improvement in. And I got addicted to that. I love the feeling of becoming better at something and finally being able to do something and see a result from it. Right. So
Mm.
one story to another, I met another guy and then he introduced me to personal training. I dove in with everything I got certified. I had to like take the exam in like 2 weeks, and then I just studied everything that I could. I went and got the certification.
You got
I,
that
I was faced
certification in 2 weeks.
two
Hot
weeks. Yeah, it was one of those moments, Mila, where you had to take immediate action. I don't
run.
know how it was a very clear path. You could either do this right now and commit, or go back and not have any changes. It was like a jump moment, when you're literally about to either skydive, you got to just jump, you just got to do it.
Yeah.
And I just said, I got to jump into this, I got to do it, and I ran with it. I got certified, I got hired, and I never went back. I never looked back. I kept training. I went to work, and then I met my business partner at that work, and he said, "Hey, you ever thought about opening up a gym?" And it was his idea, really. So I just ran with it, man. I was like, no, how do you do that? And I was open. And here we are, 3 gyms later, going on 4 and 5. And that's kind of the long story short there.
Yeah, no, because this is the thing, right? Okay, look, I have, well, how can I put it? I have taken the PT certification over here in the UK. And let's just say, okay, I am going to retaking the PT certification over here in the UK in the near future. But to like go, okay, yeah, I did it in 2 weeks. Like, okay, what some people don't realize what is entailed with personal training, because people like, oh yeah, personal training, you just lift weights and that's about it. But it's a case of anatomy, physiology, cardiovascular, all of this. And to like go, yeah, 2 weeks and done, that must have taken a hell of a lot of focus.
It really did. And thankfully, what I had done before that is I bought the more prestigious certification, right? And I had that, I was studying that. But my mentor at the time told me, hey, that's going to take you about 6 months to pass this exam because you got to study. It's a big book. So if you take this one, you get certified in a weekend and then you're there, right? And I thought, wow, okay, I need to get my foot in the door. So I had this other cert, and I said, well, let me hang on and let me take this other one. So I had to put double investments, right? So I got that other cert as a foot in the door to get hired immediately, right? Because
Yeah.
timing was of the essence. As soon as I got hired, it was like it was just the perfect storm. Like clients came, everything came at that moment. So had I have waited, I don't know what would have happened, because other trainers got hired, right? So it was in that moment where I had to act on it. That's why that 2 weeks was so close, because I said, well, you have this certain part of me said, well, why don't you just wait 6 months? And I said, I'm so glad I didn't do that, because I would have missed so many clients. But going back, the initial second certification, as you know, how much is entailed in personal training, it was so much more beneficial to take your time on a certification, because, a great trainer, even a master trainer, you don't churn them out and over in 2 weeks or a weekend. It takes years and years of practice,
Yes, the long and winding road, as the Beatles would say.
Yeah.
It's a painful road, I tell you that now. A painful road.
Yeah, it definitely can be. That's for sure.
Yeah, because like this is the thing. Look, like I've been around gyms a long time now. I can't even say, oh, I've been around the gym for a couple. No, it's been a good long minute. And like I have like spoken to personal trainers, I've met personal trainers, I've seen the good, the bad, the ugly, and yes, the totally unfocused. How, like, for you to go, okay, I'm going to be a personal trainer, to then go, yeah, you know what? I'm going to make the jump from owner, like from personal trainer to owner, because I don't know how it works in America, but do you have to pay rent in the gym as a personal trainer?
Yeah, so you do have those options that where you're like an independent contractor. I
Yeah.
was employed at the time, so I basically at the organization when I was employed, I was an employee, and then when transitioning to owner was opening a franchise called Anytime Fitness, which was the under their umbrella and their rules and how they
Yeah.
work there, which to any, aspiring business owner, it's great to have original ideas and run with that, but sometimes it's better to just take somebody else's idea and run with it. So the franchise model helped a lot in that.
Mm. I think that's where some people get confused with business, like where they go, I must have my own unique idea, rather than sort of like, okay, let's start up a business and just sort of get points on the board, get enough points on the board, then you can turn those points into something else. And then, like, you know what I mean, building a strong enough base, then you can maybe start up something unique then, but you've got this firm base. And like,
100%.
yeah. So like, yeah. So you said you're going to do gym 4 and 5 currently as well?
Gym 4 and 5. Yeah. We're going in the process of a downtown and then another location in Northern California as well. So working on that, and just been very grateful to be around, guys that and girls that push you to think differently and give you different perspectives and move forward there. So the expansion that's the beautiful part about it, right? So when we first looked at it, it was, okay, well, let's come up with our own gym idea. I was like, okay, well, let's do that. How do we do that? Okay. And I mean, man, we went from looking at every single possible idea to, okay, let's buy all the dumbbell. Let's get how much does all this cost? And we're like, man, this is like, hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, someone's going to come and say, hey, Kawan, we're gonna fund Kawan's gym, right? And that's less likely to happen where you have a proven model like an Anytime Fitness that they can look at and say, okay, what's a typical Anytime Fitness, profit margins, net income, overhead expenses. Okay, this we can stand behind. More people will be able to back you, right? Because it's proven. So, and that's the thing with business. It's people, you might be a great believer in the idea of Kawan's gym, but other people might not see it that way, right?
Oh, there's a reason why there's branding in the world. Let's just say that.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly. You nailed it.
Yeah. No, but like, this is the thing. What would you say were some of like the sort of biggest lessons you've learned from going from PT to like owner?
Oh man, great question. I think from being a PT, you are the business, right? You're the product. You got to take care of yourself. You have to be, constantly reading, educating yourself, and learning new exercises, nutrition, so you can pass it on to your, clients and students, right? So the first number one thing is, if you can't manage yourself, you can't manage others, right? So I learned on a very small level to learn to deal with a personal business front. So that was the number one step. The second thing I've kind of learned was going to business owner was, now you have to step out of the day-to-day and train, or the training, which I did in the beginning, but to come out and oversee sort of how operations work, what your strengths are, and where you fit in the business, right? So big takeaways for me were, utilizing, other people, teams and their strengths, or people on your team. So I was fortunate to have 2 business partners, right? That helped so much with their strengths. So allowing others to take over in areas that you may not be good at, and not trying to take on everything and trying to be number one, because you're not going to be as good at something that somebody has been doing longer than you. So understanding that's okay, right? And also the most important thing was, benching the ego a little bit, right? Okay, right. So how do I get past these things that I don't know, right? Okay, I need to do this. I need to do this. Let me get out of the way of decision making, right? And then just constant improvement, continuous learning on things you don't know, really paying attention to those things. All right, I messed up X.
Yeah.
What happened here? Like, why did this happen? Okay, I need to go back to the drawing board, research this, learn about this more, and just focusing on that, just like I did on the health. I translated that to that, right? So I said, if I can get better from these little mini failures that happen, they're no longer failures. They're just learning lessons at that point, right? So much on the philosophical side. On the business side, knowing your numbers, knowing your data, right? like really diving in and looking at the things you're either uncomfortable looking at, right? You don't want wants to look at these, they're like, what is these numbers? What's this? And just really exposing yourself to that. Because as a personal trainer, you're on a schedule, you're fixed schedule, you got your own autonomy. But when it comes to a business, man, as you know, it just doesn't stop. So learning that self-care, managing yourself and showing up, a lot of it's just showing up, just show up consistently. And a lot of things get solved with that.
Yeah, no, like this is the thing. One of the most, how can I put it? Like the folly, the naivety of when most people start businesses, like it's like, I'll have all the time. I'll be able to control my own time. I will be able to do 9 to 5. I'll be able to take this time off and stuff like this. I like it always makes me laugh because you hear that from most people when they first start, and then like the reality sets in. It's like, hey, welcome to a 12-hour day, 14-hour day. If there's an emergency, even a little bit longer.
100%. And it's nonstop in an environment that's constantly changing, so there's so many things happen with the pandemic that happened. It's, things were all over the place. So
Yeah.
you have to be flexible, you have to really be mindful of what you learned before and how to unlearn those things so that you can be in this environment.
Yeah. Like I would also say when you just brought up the pandemic, like that's something which, okay, totally out of left field, because look, this is the thing. You like gyms, you went, okay, gym 1, gym 2, gym 3, pretty much quite a recession-proof sort of model for most parts. But when it's just sort of like, yeah, taken away for X amount of times, and you're in California, right? Yeah. Let's just say, as an outside observer from the UK, it was California and New York, which seemed to be the hardest hit states. It was everything goes in Florida. I say no more, but that's another story. That's
right
for itself. But like, what was the sort of reaction to like this sort of like hammer blow coming down?
Man, it was, it was rough. I mean, essentially everything came to a stop, and everything we knew was done. We had no power to do anything about it. We were just sitting ducks and just had to wait around. So the first couple of days, I went home, back to my apartment, and I was sitting around. I had all this time on my hands. I didn't know what to do. I was like, man, what am I going to do, man? What am I going to do with my life? Right. So I stood around, I was reading, I was working out still, I was keeping myself occupied and I still am a believer in, improving daily, whatever that means for everyone. Right. So I always read, I always do my exercise and my meditations. And it just, it came to a stop, and I thought, what am I going to do? Right. So we all came together. We were thinking, we were just waiting for the news because it was just abrupt. And then we had to like renegotiate leases, go to landlords, follow the loan around, try to restructure that, figure out payroll, all these employees, what are you going to do with all these employees? Right. And then, just trying to stay afloat with everything. And this is where, having a team is the most important thing, because if you're alone, it's hard to, if you don't have a mentor, if you don't have a business partner or somebody that can help you, it's hard, man, on your own. So I utilize as much, asking a lot of questions, reaching out to a bunch of people and seeing what we can do. So everything that happens to us in life is, it can be looked at in two ways, right? It can be looked at as a catastrophic event that can floor you, or an event that you can look at and, become better from, right? And the challenging part is the latter, right? The hardest thing to do is to look at something and say, okay, well, this is something in disguise here. I got to learn from this. How do I learn from this, right? As you've probably heard, there's a Chinese character that shares the same character from danger and opportunity, right?
Yeah.
And Yeah, so for us, it was really looking at the opportunistic side and how can we advance in that time. So in the second reopening, we reopened, and then there was another shutdown, right? So we were like, man, we just went over 2 weeks, and then so we quickly, built an outdoor gym, got everything, the moving parts there, and we were able to stay open with that. So adaptation, staying open, leveraging, perspectives, and just really taking action constantly is what kind of saved us there.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Like adaptation to like go, you know what, we need to just like, okay, let's do an outdoor gym, like which is like a little bit out of left field, but I mean, any way to sort of keep the lights on and keep the doors open. That must be challenging to say the least. But like one of the things like you bring up with regards to sort of having that team around you, I think it's one of those things where I've spoken to a number of people, and I can get a kind of vibe when people are like on the right path. Like it's when they sort of like going, yeah, I'm building a team. And like it just means they're building something greater than the sum of their parts. Like one of the things I need to do myself, but like lockdown, furlough, no money, couldn't really sort of do that. So I've got to do the financial repair, and like yeah. But as I was saying, it's greater than the sum of their parts. If you get what I mean.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, the building the team is, I always look at sports as such a beautiful analogy there. And a team can mean anything. It doesn't mean you have to have a business partner, but it means that you got to have people in your corner that have different strengths, want the best for you, and have walked the walk that you want to go on. It could be a mentor, a friend, anybody, and your family even. So I think, in sports, you got obviously Michael Jordan, right? It was one of my favorite people, obviously, a guy named Michael Jordan, right? But, Michael Jordan needs Pippen, right? Michael Jordan needs Phil Jackson. You got to have these players on your side that help you move forward.
And Michael Jordan needs Dennis Rodman. Look, when you've got God, Jesus, and the devil on one team, how are you going to win against that?
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. And that's right, man. So I think that was a big help there, and just reaching out and connecting with others is the takeaway for me there on that one.
Yeah, like there's this book, Shoe Dogs, Phil Knight, founder of Nike. Yeah, like called Shoe Dogs. And I've got to say, like, there's two things you pick up from this book. Like, basically, life can be very serendipitous, how you meet the people which join you on that journey, and basically cash flow. It's like if you don't have that cash flow, your business is not going to go. It's just like, but like the people and like experiences when he like Nike was blue ribbon, and then basically bringing it over, how people like sort of like companies let him down to like, and he's like fighting against that to sort of building it all the way to it. But it was just like, how many people, and you're talking, it's a 20-year journey before like, Nike was floated as Nike, but it was just like the people we met on the way was just remarkable. And the team he built, just like, okay, a juggernaut. You can't even say anything more than that. Nike is
right.
Small company somewhere like in Portland. Yeah, they'll never succeed. They'll never succeed.
Man, that's something, man. I think that's the cash flow is equally huge, right? You can have the best idea, but yeah, you're absolutely right. You got to have the cash flow and that team perspective as well. So I definitely can appreciate that.
Yeah, I can imagine. So like, this is the thing. Is it going to be like, are you going to do other things to diversify out of like just having the gyms, or are you going to like just like, hey, gyms is my thing, like we licked the pandemic once, if something else comes along, we'll lick it again?
Right. And that's a great question. So recently we've been, believe it or not, we've been at this since 2019, right? So we opened our doors in 2019 of April.
Wow.
Right? And the pandemic hit in March of 2020. So we were having about to have a 1 year anniversary going, and here this thing comes, right? And man, it was just it tore us apart because we were thinking, man, what are we going to do? So we learned a lot from that moment. So finally getting, the gyms all up and going, we're starting to think, okay, some diversification is needed at this point. So um, it's always good to follow your strength, right? To do what you're good at doing. If it's gyms and gyms, that's awesome. There's nothing wrong with capitalizing on that.
Yeah.
But it's also good to have different things going for you so that you have more buckets, right? You want your buckets to have plenty of, things in them for you so that if one bucket, tips over or falls apart, you got your other, buckets there to depend upon. So, and I think that goes true for so many things, in human beings' lives, right? People put their happiness and everything into one.
Mm.
And when that one thing falls apart, it's over, right? It's game over, but it doesn't have to be that way, So that's why finding the things that allow you that abundance is key there. So definitely looking at some more options. And, as much as it pains me to say, gyms are great, business is great, but eventually you got to have an exit, right? You got to have a time where you go and say, I've done this, I've done great, and it's time to, either travel the world or chill or, have a different life, because you don't want to be, I don't know, maybe you do. I don't know if I want to run a gym till I'm like 75. I might be a little bit tired by then, but eventually you got to be able to step away and that's it, right?
Now, this is the thing. Look, we have been talking for about half an hour, and like this is the whole thing. I look at you and I've listened to you, and like you've got this sort of calm type of like intensity about you, right? And all I've got to simply say is, when you talk about exit plan, I'm gonna just say I'm gonna call bullshit on that, because look, it's like, look, for someone, okay, let's break this down. This is brief, but like for someone who went, you know what, okay, kind of like need to find my path, yeah, found the path, went, okay, let's do this personal training thing. 2 weeks into it, like 2 weeks, okay, got one qualification, need to do the other qualification, doing a course which is quite intense and focused, then becoming a personal trainer, doing that, and like, hey, you know what? Own one gym, yeah, okay, I'll own one gym. Then like, no, 2, 3, and looking at 4, now 5. Yeah, no, I'm not buying it. It's like, I'm not buying it. Come on, man. Come on.
That's really cool. Yeah, that's nice of you to call. The call out is warranted. Yeah, I never looked at it that way. Now, I will say, there's an exit, I guess, is a better way of saying, the better way to say an exit rather is you can always have your hand in things, right? And yeah. That could be serving as an advisor. That could be serving as, different, maybe lower percentages in businesses, right? Startups, things like that, which is great. But eventually, I don't think I could ever leave, fitness in itself, because it's had such an impact on me. So I never really looked at it from that perspective. And at one point, yeah, an exit strategy is great, but what are you going to do with all that time, right? You're just going to sit around and hang out, right? So in reality, yeah, you got a good point. And I think for that, it would be something on a scale where I could, not be involved so much in the day-to-day, but rather be on the outside and having my hand in it somehow.
Yeah, because like this is the thing, the realm of fitness, okay, it is a large industry. And look, it's just growing. It's going to go, I think, a little bit more bonkers over the next few years. Look, for people like myself who love going to the gym on a regular basis, had it taken away, it's like I'm looking at like, when I move out of London, I'm looking at like home gym equipment, sort of like that thing, but it's going to be a case of it'll be there, but I will still go to a gym. But you can see like, but home gym, nutrition, everything like this. Have you ever thought about doing maybe a nutrition company like Quest or something like that?
Man, I look at those companies and I'm always amazed on how they pull these things together, right?
Yeah,
Because food, nutrition is such a different animal there. And I did look into some like different I want to say like supplements and things like that. And if I was to do something like that, it'd have to be something that I could really believe in or strongly stand behind. So I did look into that and things like that as well. I'm just really curious to see where fitness goes in the next, even 5 years or 10 years from now, right?
mm,
With AI, with all these things. So I'm looking ahead at that because, like you said, you got the home equipment, you got the home
yeah,
gym, and the pandemic just really put that put people on the map, right? It exposed everyone, right?
yeah.
So nutrition is a great thing to get into. I would just have to like look into kind of what that entails and how you can do that, because that's a problem that deserves a lot of attention nowadays. And pretty soon I'm wondering, is there going to be a pill that you take and somebody's going to do your push-ups for you? Like, is that what's going to happen, right? Like in 20 years, like, could you imagine?
No, like, you know what? If that ever came out, like, it's like people who put in freaking calf implants and pec implants. You'll be like, stop that. No, because look, the whole thing is like, it's a journey. Fitness is
Mm,
a journey. And anyone who tries to shortcut that journey, like, people will go, yeah, what about people doing steroids? Oh, yeah, look, that guy might be juicing left, right, and center, but they still have to show up every day. It doesn't just come on. No, it's a journey. And if you don't take part in that journey, forget it. You lose everything it means to
mm.
achieve that level. Uh,
Yeah, that's a
yeah,
great point, man. Yeah, that's exactly it. I think you nailed it there. And the journey in itself is so worth it, because I was talking to my business partner. We're trying to tier some of the pricing on sessions and things like that. And becoming a master trainer, we had hours that you had to hit,
yeah,
right? So when I first started working out, it was, I started running, and then I joined the gym, and then I fell in love with the gym. I started working out, started seeing, some of the pectorals, popping out of the shirt there, and say, aha, it's working, right? So, and I feel like that's, whenever you get that, you're just like chasing that forever. So, and it was a great feeling, man. So I did that. And then, so I'd been working out for about 4 years before I got certified, right?
mm,
And when I got certified, I said, oh, okay, it all makes sense now, right? Everything I learned through trial and error, through injuries, through, things that I tried that didn't work, experimentation, years and years of pain, man, working out, being sore, and finding all these things. I acquired the unofficial certification in the gym, which you don't get recognition for, right? And because you're working in the weight room, in the shadows there. So I did that, and then once I got certified, I realized how much I didn't know, right? And I started off with 0 sessions, and to become master, you had to have 2,251 sessions, right? They threw that one on there at the end for some reason. I still don't know why, but
like, you know what? I think it's a case of, when you're going up a hill and you got that little lip, just when you think you're at the top, it's got that little lip. That's why they put the one on there.
that's yeah, because all of them are tiered that way. There's like 751, 1,501,
Yeah.
2,251, and that's that kind of, so that, and then you get this really cool shirt that says Master Trainer on the back, right? So I said, man, I want that shirt. I wanted the shirt more than anything else that I ever wanted in my life, because it meant that you were, an authority at something. You were good at something. You had a skill, right? And I said, all right, I want that. And I stopped at nothing to get it. I mean, I worked 12, 15 hours a day, just to, get to those session tiers. And I had crunched down the numbers. It would take a month, a week. And I stopped at nothing. I wanted master trainer more than anything else in my life, because it was the first title that I was going to get in my life. I never got college degree. I never, I barely got my high school diploma. So getting the master trainer was like my degree. And man, you're so right. The journey to get to that master trainer level was, man, it was, blood, sweat, and tears, as they say. You're working, you're tired. And then, I still, until this day, I got to 10,000. Eventually, I kept working, obviously. But even now, I'm still learning in the process of it. So mastery is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And, but you never quite reach and say, that's it. I'm here. Right. I got, okay, I'm good. I got to keep improving. I got to keep learning.
Yeah.
And that's,
yeah. No, sorry.
No, yeah, I think that's the takeaway to anybody that wants to hone something. Never think you made it. Never think you're at the top, because once you think that, and once you start becoming complacent, you start saying, well, I'm good. That's when you lose that drive, you lose that hunger, you lose that student mentality. Stay a student and continuously improve and work on it.
Yeah, because this is the thing. One of the because when you go, you need to get my 2,000, 100, 2,501, was it?
2,251. Yeah.
2,251. Now, the whole thing is what a lot of people fall into the trap of, and it seems like you have avoided it. When you hit that milestone and you're like, oh, yes, I've done it. And then you kind of look around and go, there's no more worlds to conquer. What do I need to do now? And people can drift and get lost in that. But you've kind of went, you've always got to be that student. You've always got to keep pushing yourself. Self-development never ends until, you pass, basically.
That's it. Yeah, you nailed it.
Yeah. So with this, okay, you've got you're getting this, you've got this mastery of your personal training. What made you, where did you get that from? Because you say you were you started out a little bit party here, a little bit party there. Would you say you've always had that type of focus, or is it something you had to learn?
Yeah, it's a great question, man. I'll never forget, I was in Los Angeles and I got this, I was looking at my life, and I was always doing things kind of halfway. I dabbled in this, I dabbled in that. And I think it was just, I got to a point where I said, you know what, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to focus on this wholeheartedly. Right. And I put my mind to it, and I said, I'm going to work out, and I'm not going to stop working out until I get, to where I want to go, where I want to be. And I'm going to commit. I'm going to dedicate myself to this. It took that for me. And I never had that in my life per se. It was, the working out was the beautiful thing about working out is you start working out, you start seeing a little bit of a result. You say, okay, it's worth it. Your brain says, this is something that you do work, you get reward.
Yeah.
And so I said, okay, this is great. So it took that little click. And then once I got on that, it was just, nothing could really stop it there. It was something that I believed in and that I wanted. Right. So I focused on it, and it changed me, So to answer your question, I didn't really have that because I didn't really, I got in martial arts. I got my brown belt.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get black. And that was something that I look back on and I'm like, man, I should have got that black belt. But I was stopped when I was young. And in fitness, it was that chance for me. It was to say, okay, now here's your discipline again. Here's your path.
Yeah.
The gym is your dojo, right?
Mm-hmm.
I call it the school of strength and improvement, and you go and you can do this now. And that's where it kind of just clicked for me, man. I was like, that's it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this all the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is the thing. I can understand now why you put down Rocky as one of your favorite, Rocky 2 as one of your favorite movies. Because this is the thing, Rocky 2, okay, look, don't get me wrong. You put me down in front of a Rocky movie. If doesn't matter what point it is on, I will be sitting there and watching it. I will arrive late, meet up with friends. It has to be watched.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And look, my friend, one of my best mates, Dean, Dean, I love you out there, buddy. He is when he watches Rocky 4 with the montage, he goes, oh yeah, it's the best montage. I'm like, no, shut your mouth. No, shut your mouth. It's Rocky 2. You want to know why? Come on now. Why you want to
Oh
use them
man,
like the best montage? Like
tell
Adrian
me.
laying in the bed, like she's like
Yes.
brings the baby and like she's like, yeah, she goes, I want you to do one thing. I go, no. If you don't want to me like Creed no more, I won't do it. No, I just want you to do one thing. It's like, what? Win. Ding.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, you got it. You got it. You know, watching that until this day, even you talking about it right now, brings that those feelings up, man. Where I don't know what it is, man, but
Mm,
I'm with you 100%. Rocky Tube, hands down, best training montage. And I looked up some of the things like chasing the chicken around. You
yeah.
know, unfortunately, there wasn't a lot of fitness things, but that's okay.
I can see
And,
it. Like,
it was
chase that chicken.
right. Chase this chicken around. Yeah, exactly. It was so awesome, man, because he made a decision, right?
Yeah.
And he went for it, he did it, and he worked on himself. And I remember being young and watching that, and it changed me, man, because he was a man who was down and out, or not doing much, and then one day he just said, man, this is it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this decision and go for it. And that is what, for me, I guess greatness is, right? Or actualizing yourself is to say, you got to decide. You got to decide on what it is that you want. You got to sit back and say that I'm going to do this thing, and then make the steps towards achieving that thing every day. Collect small wins, right?
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of people say, man, improvement. It sounds so, I don't know, cliche, right? But it really is as simple as doing these little small things every day that add up to big changes. And you look at Rocky, he just trained, man. He trained day in and day out.
Yeah.
He stuck with it, right? And then became Rocky, right? And it was that little bit at the end that allowed him to stand.
Yeah, but let me interject. But this is the thing in Rocky 2. Okay, he went, yeah, I'm in first, like for the first bit, but he wasn't in. He was like, you know what I mean? He like kind of deceived himself and blew a little bit of smoke up his up his own backside, and he was like, yeah. But when he truly was like, yeah, you know what? Bam. Okay, I'm in. And you just saw, then it was totally different. Like, because like it feels like you, like when you mentioned, okay, yeah, you got your brown belt, but like you wish you got your black, you were in kind of, but you weren't truly in. And then when you got to the gym, you were like, okay, I'm in for the gym. I'm going for it. You pushing your workouts, everything like this. And then when it was like, okay, personal training came into it, I like that switch was like forever turned on. You were like, yeah, I'm in with this. And then basically doing your business, I'm in with this. And like, it seems like it just kept going. I could be wrong. I could be like, you tell me, like, if I'm wrong, please enlighten me. I would like to know.
Well, if you want to look at someone's trajectory, you got to look to their actions, right?
Yeah.
And what you're saying is true, because I didn't finish, right? But I stuck with the fitness. So yeah, there's truth to that. And I saw that as something, it was like, a little more, I guess, complex, right? Because fitness involved so many different systems. You had your nutrition, you had your strength, you had your weight, your heart. There's like so many, there's 11 principles to fitness, right? And it's speed, power, agility, coordination, reaction time, muscular strength, muscular endurance, balance, flexibility, body composition, right? So looking at these principles like that, you're like, wow, this is a lot, right? Whereas when I looked at martial arts, it's like, all right, do I go like just beat one person up? Is that what my life is gonna be? I don't want to do that, right? So for me, it was like that connection maybe didn't happen for me, but for fitness, it was the second chance to pick up the iron and self-actualize. So it was that, in the sense that you could see the result from it, right? One thing that attracted me towards working out in the gym or working with weights was the direct result of your work, right? So if you're a great soccer player, which I love soccer, if you're a great martial artist, you can't see it per se, but underneath you're a pro, right?
Yeah.
But with weight training for me, it was like, oh, well, everyone's going to look at me and know that I work out, right? So that attracted me. And you're obviously a guy that's in great shape. And even though, we're both here, I can tell because you're so enthusiastic about it. And you can see it right away. You know what I mean? And that's what I think is seeing is believing is for people that, give yourself that try, give yourself that effort to allow yourself to get those results, and then it kicks in and then you're hooked, So I think that's what it was for me, man.
No, I hear you. And like this is the thing, when you like see some people, when they've got that true commitment to it, like one of my sort of favorite sort of, how can I say, he was kind of like a motivational speaker, but he was like a fitness like guru type thing. I don't know if you know Greg Plitt.
Yeah. I actually worked out at the gym I used to work out in LA there. I saw him all the time.
Oh my God. Yeah. Wow. That's amazing, because like him, like Jesus, like one of the things, like
right?
One of his like lines, which really sticks with me, when he goes, yeah, when you're standing in the arena of life and you can hold up your hand victoriously. And like, I was like, I may have butchered that line, but it's a case of the energy, the like focus and like the commitment to it all. You kind of like, you see it chiseled in him, not just physically, but his whole mental approach to it all, which was like inspiring to me. And I like, what I mean? It's a sad thing he's gone now,
Yeah, it's super sad. I mean, a big contributor and pioneer in everything he did with fitness and putting it on the map. And going back to what you were saying, I think made me go on a tangent there was being in, right? And with the fitness there, you're absolutely right. I was in on it, man. I wanted it bad, and I wanted to do something for myself. And I wanted to say, hey, I'm going to come back, and because I was going to go back and see my friends. I'm going to shock everyone with the work I'm going to do on myself. Right. And it's when you find that with you, that's when big change happens. And the beautiful, I don't know what happened to Rocky, but there's so many ways to decipher that scene. But when Adrian tells him to win, it's like he finally believed he was in, right? He finally believed it. Like you said, he wasn't in when he was trying in the beginning, because he didn't have that backing. He didn't have that reasoning, that why, right? Is what we try and find in fitness. What is that why that's going to keep you going through the ups and downs and through it all? Because you're going to have them, and working out, man, there was so many times where I tried to talk myself out of it. I said, man, what are you going to do? Become a professional bodybuilder? You're 28 years old. You can't do that. And I said, well, I probably won't become a professional bodybuilder, but time will go on and do its thing anyways. I may as well do this and see what happens with it.
No.
So that was kind of it,
Yeah, no, like this is the thing, like getting into it and like, look, being a professional bodybuilder, no, but like, what I mean? Being the best version of yourself, physically, mentally, and being able to like take on the day and look at yourself in the mirror and go, I'm doing everything in my power to do the right moves, take the right steps for my life. And I think a number of people, like, they're still trying to seek that out. And look, it doesn't necessarily have to be fitness. It could be like, writing books or like writing poetry, doing photography. But it is one of those things I wish more people could find what that sort of spark, that click moment to help them sort of like succeed and proceed, Oh,
100%. That's kind of like the thing that you could always want to pass down to everybody, is for that person to find that. And like you said, man, it doesn't have to be fitness, it doesn't have to be trying to be the next Rocky. You know what I mean? It's going and finding that spark for you and what that means for you, because we're all given these gifts, right? And things that we are, I don't know, blessed with, given. And it's up to us to find them, see them, look in the mirror, like you said, and say, am I making all the right moves? Am I actualizing on those gifts? And, never stop the hunger, never stop the drive to want to know more and to inquire about yourself. And, And most importantly, man, be open-minded and get ready, get ready to take on exciting things for yourself when you do that. Once you're open like that student, life will come and say, the universe will say, all right, he or she is ready. They're open to what we're, the gifts that they can do. But if you close yourself off and you don't give yourself that chance, it's a tough one there, because you might not just be ready to face that,
Yeah, like if you don't sort of take on that sort of be like water mentality, if you get what I mean. Uh, from the late great Bruce Lee, as he says. Yeah.
That's a beautiful philosophy in so many ways.
So now this is the thing, like, okay, you doing the fitness, like, yeah, who knows where you might go next with that? Well, we know you're going to do 2 more gyms and such, but like, yeah, what got you doing podcasting? And like, you've done a number of episodes now.
Oh yeah, sweet, man. So going back, I was rambling about the pandemic, and
nothing wrong with rambling. There's nothing wrong with.
I appreciate the space. I think it was, in the pandemic, I was sitting there, and I always wanted to do something to be present on social media, I guess. Right. So I started messing around on Instagram, man, believe it or not. I said, what can I do with this downtime? So I have this time where I can either sit around and, hang around, not do anything, or I can, you said that you want to do this Instagram thing and you're not really doing much with it. Why don't you play around with that? Why don't you start adding value on Instagram by doing something? And so for many years, I had pondered this, like, I didn't want to be the guy that was just doing exercises on Instagram, because first of all, I'm not, that fit. Second of all, I was like, man, there's so many people doing that. I was like, so I always liked these infographics that I always saw, right? Which was like the top 3 things that, such and such does to get in a morning routine. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. So I said, why don't you just do that? Why don't you pick that up? So it started off on Instagram, and I started playing around on that, and I started getting followers, people that liked it. And I said, man, I want to do a little more. And I said, what can I do? So I started looking at avenues of self-expression, blogs.
Yeah.
I said, I don't know if I want to do that. And I stumbled upon this podcasting thing. And I said, man, this podcast, this sounds fun. I love talking to people, connecting with guys like you is awesome, because, man, you get talking about Rocky, you get talking about life, business, things like that. Like how you and I probably would never met if it wasn't for podcast. I mean, maybe 1 million or 2 million.
Hey,
right?
You never know. That's about, I might be in San Diego. That's like, I need to find a gym.
Right.
Free. Come on in. But
yeah. And so I said, so I procrastinated for about a year. Right. So the pandemic allowed me to, it was a bad thing as far as like stopping me from working every day, but it was a great thing because it made me stop working every day, and it made me stop it and think and say, well, what do I got? What can I do? What can I do with this time? And I said, okay, look into this podcast. He said, so I procrastinated for a good year. It was about 10 months. And then I finally just said, you know what? If you don't do it, it was this year, I picked it up in January. I said, if you don't do it now, you're never going to do it. And I said, all right. So I bought some books and I started playing around with names, and ValueVerse is the name of the podcast. So I just made it as easy as possible as I could. I do myself. So I said, if I don't do this, hire an editor and hire people to do it, I'm going to look at it like a chore, and I'm not going to want to do it.
Yeah.
And so I said, only focus on the things you're good at doing with it. That way you won't stop doing it. Right. I said, okay. So I shelled out a little money. I hired some editors, people write my show notes, and I just went about it that way, man.
Yeah. Because you've only been doing this since January. You have churned out how many episodes now? It's been a fair bit.
Yeah, so I do. I have about 24 episodes. So I do 1 episode a week. So I did 4 the first week, 3 the second.
Yeah,
and I did one a week, and then I do a solo episode every Friday, which is like less than 10 minutes, just talking about something I learned that week. And I try to do like PDF giveaways now, where I'm just learning things along the way, and I just put them in PDF and say, hey, here you go, it's free. So I don't charge or anything like that. And the solo episodes help just keeping listeners on, and one day I could probably hopefully grow mine like yours, because I love the work that you're putting out there. And I just love the medium, man. I love talking to people, and
Mm.
I just don't feel like you could do that in a lot of different spaces, in like public speaking, maybe, but podcast is just so unique in that way.
Yeah, no, put it this way, you've gone past like the sort of typical average, like it's five and done. People do five podcast episodes and
Ah,
they're
that's
done.
right. Yeah.
And like this is the thing, like they go, oh, there's a mass explosion of podcasts. I'm like going, there might be, but how many of them are truly
Mm.
active? So I think if you compare it to sort of like something like YouTube, where there's like 100 million
Oh, yeah.
plus channels, maybe a hell of a lot more than that. Yeah, there's like maybe a million podcasts, maybe a million and a half, and out of that million, a million and a half, maybe 700,000 of them are not truly active anymore. But yeah, like going paying out money for an editor. I wish I could have that money. It's like, do you think you'll be putting some of that up on YouTube as well? Like, because hey,
Right. I thought about that. I haven't gotten into the YouTube space that much. I just do the traditional, like the Apple and Spotify and all the Google ones.
yeah,
But man, I use Upwork for a lot of my stuff there, and you can find somebody to do the show notes. Super great, affordable price on there, and they pump out good content. So I just know myself, and I try to set up systems where like they're fail safes. I can't fail. So that way
yeah,
I say, okay, if I have someone editing it and publishing it and doing show notes, I can't do that. I'm not great at doing that. I probably can, but
yeah,
let's be real. Am I going to do that every, day sitting down? Probably not. So it's like, all right, it's worth that money for me so that I don't stop doing it, because, just like anything, just like fitness, man, people stop because it becomes a chore, it
yeah.
becomes hard and it becomes difficult. And I've been very fortunate to say, simplify, man.
Mm.
If you can make things easy and lower your expectations and just get by doing it, then it's worth it.
Yeah, but like this is also the same thing, is you got a time value for yourself, because look, like, okay, your time value is going to be a hell of a lot different to like just someone who's just working a like typical 9 to 5. And like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, running like 3 gyms and whatever else goes on with that sort of day to day. Look, running one gym can be like hectic enough. Running 3, like, yeah, find that sort of spare time to then do a podcast and like edit a podcast and upload a podcast. Like that can like if it can take a hefty chunk of time. So if you can pay someone to like do that to sort of help lighten that burden, but still like, well, free up that bandwidth so you can do that. Yeah, I always say pay the money, because yeah, time is everything. Time is eternal, but like the whole thing is it might be eternal, but it's finite for us, you know?
Man, powerful message. 100%. I couldn't agree more. I think that's what, drew me to that, is like how much time, as I calculated how much it was. And
Mm.
I was like, all right, I think I should do this. But you're absolutely right. And that's kind of why I did that. And with other things too, the more you can automate, the more time you save, right? You can always make money, but you can't make time, as Jim Rohn says, right?
Yeah, no, very true, very true. Now I have to ask, like, have you thought about doing public speaking? Because hey, you're a rather eloquent trap, as they say.
Thanks, man. I got into Toastmasters once,
Yeah,
and that was really fun. So I like public speaking. I think anything public speaking and getting on stage in front of a bunch of people
mm,
is always a good thing. You learn so much about yourself, and getting and doing that over and over again. I was fortunate to dabble in acting when I was younger. So moving to LA was kind of what spurred that move to Los Angeles. And the getting on stage and doing that, it's so good for you to just break through that uncomfortable feeling, over
yeah,
and over again. So I am looking at, possibly getting back into the Toastmasters thing. I like what they're doing, and just hopefully, get even more across. But that's a great question, and I think it's something that I would like to get back into at some point.
Yeah, because I think you like, you know what I mean, make a quite an impact on stage. Just saying. Like, look, like,
Thanks, man.
no worries, no worries. But like, I have to ask, like, the world of acting. Like, did you appear in anything, a TV show, a commercial, a film? Did you manage to get deep into it? Because the Hollywood machine, as they say.
Yeah, man. I did a lot of so I started off doing improv theater,
Yeah.
and I got into some small commercials, like extra work, nothing really big, and independent films, some speaking parts here and there. But yeah, never really took off with that. I got into that, and that was in itself a big challenge for me, because I was at a crossroads where I didn't know what I was doing again. So I had been working out for so long, and I was trying to do this acting thing, and I didn't really know much about it or how to do it. And, it was tough, because it was hard for me to let go of it,
Mm.
and a lot of people think, well, no, I have to do something. And I told myself that for so many years. And, you know, going back, I think what we were talking about before is I wasn't in on it. Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I was doing it out of guilt or what I was doing, or I thought I found something, I had to do it. But, I read in a book recently, it was 4 Hour Work Week, Tim Ferriss, where he says,
Yeah.
it was a great book, man. Learn the art of unfinishing, and that was big for me, because then we're so involved in things where you think you have to do something. And what does that cost you at the end, right? What does that mindset cost you, where you're stubborn, you got to stick to something?
Yeah.
And I told myself, no, man, it's okay. Looking back on it now, I'm so grateful I found acting, because it caused me to move to LA. So I miss it dearly, but I'm so happy for what it did for me to learn more about myself. I think we're all actors in our own show, right, and in our own life. And acting is a beautiful thing, man. It's just it led me to find more about myself, and it was great in that sense. But it was hard for me to let go, because I guess what I go into, I want to say, I want to be great at it. We all want to be great at something,
Yeah, no, but like, this is the thing, you can never have a lifetime of just constant success, because like, yeah, like the whole thing is, more times than not, the lesson is in the losses rather than the victories. Yeah. And when that comes along, and like, yeah, that constant rise, we've seen people, like, you know what I mean, the celebrities, like big sort of corporate titans and everything like this. And they, like, the times when you see them always on the up, you don't actually see the sort of countless failures and like losses they've had to get to that position. It's like, yeah, it's a very sort of weird world when you sometimes look at it through that sort of looking glass, as they say.
That's exactly it. I think that those lessons are so important.
Mm.
And it really takes a lot of introspection to find them, because sometimes you just keep going and going and going. You don't stop to pay attention, and then you look up and it's been, 30 plus years, and you say, wow, man, what happened? And
Yeah.
and it's the effects of every day that happen, right? But you nailed it, man. The lessons in life is what teaches us that pain, which is a direct correlation with fitness, right? Fitness, you learn that pain is growth. When you feel your muscles burning or on fire, that is essentially you going to that next strength phase or next level. And that's life. In life, you're going to be faced with moments that cause you this pain, and it's temporary. It can be uncomfortable, and it can cause you, to get really down on yourself, or you can say, no, this is something that's going to propel me. This is something that I'm going to grow and strengthen from. It's when you adopt that mindset of that, that person that is proactive versus reactive is when you start to make great strides. And fitness helped me with that because every time I was sore, I knew I was growing.
Yeah.
I hated it. I hated the feeling of it. That doesn't mean you're going to like it, right? I
No.
hated the feeling of it, and it was painful to grow. It was painful to do those sets, but it was the day in and day out and practicing of the reps, the sets multiplied by every day that led to that growth. So if anything that I could pull away from that is pay attention to pain, and what it's telling you, because it's a signal.
Yeah. Not, it's very true, very true. Sometimes the signal is like, stop now before it goes too far. But
Yeah.
sometimes it's like, yeah, puts that place of discomfort. There's a YouTube channel called Yes Theory, and one of their motto is seek discomfort. And I think it's one of those things where, like, you talk about discomfort through working out, and like, yeah, like you have to put yourself through that sort of pain to sort of know that you're growing and developing. But like the whole thing is, I don't know how many people sort of seek that sort of realm of discomfort to sort of put like, not, and when I say this, not just in the realm of fitness, but in life in general, to help push them onto that sort of next level. I think people sometimes shy away from it because it's not comfortable.
That's right, man. And it's the hardest thing to do, isn't it? To look at something and say, oh, wow, what is this thing? And why am I feeling this way?
Yeah.
And I think the most important thing there is what I've tried to do that's helped me is to take accountability and ownership of the thing, that my role in this responsibility and what it was in it. So as soon as I do that and I say, hey, this was what I did to contribute to this problem, or to contribute to my position and where I am, I say, okay, now we have something. Now we got something that we can learn from. Until you do that, you're always going to look outside. You're going to say, well, it's somebody else that's doing it, or it's that person, or it's the world out there, right? And I think it was the book Good to Great by Jim Collins. He calls it the mirror and the window, right? The window. So great leaders always looked in the mirror, when things went wrong. But bad leaders, or what he called level 5 leaders, looked in the mirror. Leaders that were below level 5 looked out the window to blame.
Yeah.
And that's what the key takeaway was for me was, but what did you do to get into this? How did you get into this situation? And the most painful thing to do, man, is to take ownership of that, because you don't want to do it. And it takes, days, sometimes weeks, months, years, man, to look back on some of your mistakes in the past, say, all right, you know what? I'm gonna own this right now. That was all on me. And that's the hardest thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah. No, like personal responsibility. And like the whole thing is like, okay, now taking personal responsibility is great for growth and everything like this. But you know what? There are so many times where someone does take personal responsibility, and then you see, like, how can I say, you see the aftermath a lot of times when people have taken personal responsibility, and sometimes it doesn't go right for them when they do, like, oh, you know what, I was wrong, like I screwed up, like, yeah. And then you see the world sort of like fold in on themselves for some things, but I'm not talking about severe crimes or anything like that. I'm just talking about just like, yeah, I screwed up on this bit, and yeah, it's like, okay, there's the exit, that your job, you no longer have, your services are required at this job. You're like, oh. So I can understand why some people are like, oh, I'm not going to take personal responsibility, but there might have been like that firing might have been an opportunity to go on to somewhere else, and rewards could have been greater. From the lessons you've learned from taking that responsibility, where you screwed up, there could be a brighter dawn around the corner, because we're not just stuck. We always have this realm of constant development. And like, if you don't, well, some people don't develop. And this is one of the reasons why I started this podcast, because look, when like you look like a man who's seen a little bit of life. Not too much, but a little bit. But like, yeah, like as am I. But like the whole thing is, when you're in your teenage years, you're a freaking idiot. And there's no getting around it. When you hit your 20s, you're still a freaking idiot. And there's no getting around it. But like, whole thing is, in your teenage years, you're meeting a lot of people. And like, you having all of these different experiences. Also in your 20s, in your 30s, yeah, those experiences get less and less and less. But when you hit your 40s, which I have entered, and there's no denying that, that the experiences get less and less. And each decade, as you get closer and closer to maybe that long life sitting on the porch and looking at the world go by, you start to grow less and less because you have less and less content. And like, it's one of those things where you've got to force yourself to do that. But like, going back to it, you still got to take responsibility. You've got to have those options to like go, right, there is a new dawn. I'm seeking out new experiences. And yeah, sometimes it's taking responsibility for like actions which have gone poorly. And sometimes it's about seeking discomfort to help you like push yourself, grow on other things. But if you're not doing either one of those things, it's one of the things I really, really, really dislike is if you haven't seen someone for a long time and they've come up to you and go, you haven't changed a bit. And you're like, oh, right, what do you mean by that? Physically? Okay, if it's physically, great. But your attitude, your outlook, you're like going, that means you haven't really grown a lot.
Man, you just dropped some real knowledge on me. First of all, you look like you're 31. Second of all, kudos to you there. And that's exactly it. The personal responsibility, granted, it's something that hopefully you haven't dug yourself so deep in, but once you do, I feel as though it liberates you, and you're able to now work on improving whatever the problem is. But until that happens, you're always going to be, defensive, arguing, or trying to block people out.
Yeah.
And, when you do that, it frees you from this. And you say, now I can grow. Now I've taken it in, right? As Kevin Hart says, you take the bullets out of their guns, and when you assume that, you take that responsibility, people can't say, hey, you didn't do X, or yeah, I did actually, and that's it. And that's exactly right, man. You have to constantly expose yourself to these situations, these difficult situations that cause you to grow. Because, as you start to get older and older, you think you know things, you start getting in your ways, right? And like I have for sure, and I try to push myself past those boundaries to, whether it's something simple like go bungee jumping or try out some skydiving, go out there and push yourself out there so you can shed some of these things that you have been holding on to, or that you think that you are. And I strongly agree with what you're saying there. It takes its form and time. And I heard a guy say it best: if you have the same thinking you had 20 years ago, you wasted 2 decades of your life, And when someone see you from a past and now perspective, that growth is critical. You got to be able to look back and point at something and say, I did this. Okay, good. Make it tangible. Make it something. So I try to do things that give me like timelines. Like, all right, I put a timeline. So it was today's June, what is it, 28th, right?
Yeah.
What happened last year, June 28th? Where was I in my headspace? So I try to journal and say, okay, count the growth, count the tangible growth. Okay. Opened a gym. Okay. Got the podcast up. All right, good. So, and those small wins, they add up, man. So I think that's an important thing to do, is to constantly revisit that and do that self-analysis,
Yeah. The classic saying, how do you eat an elephant?
Yeah. One bite at a time.
There you go. Come on now. Yeah, loving it. Yes,
That's it, man. Really digging the philosophy there, man, that you got on a lot of these topics. It's so true. And it sounds so simple, doesn't it?
Like the whole thing, like that's the scary thing. That is the scary thing about it all. Like, look, I really wish I could look, and I like, I've got to say, number of years gone by, and like it's just like you're sort of like, oh, it is far simpler than we actually give it credit for. Like like, and that's the thing. I think the trick of it, because you look at it most of the times, you go, right, no, it's got to be more complicated than this. No, you just do that consistently, day after day, and yeah, you will hit a marker at a period of time. If you like, depending on how much intensity you do that one thing day after day, will determine how quickly it will come. Yeah, there can be setbacks, but just do that day after day. What when I need to do this? No. You don't need to add that. You don't need to do this. You don't need these people to come over, and you don't need to have like fancy shoes or whatnot. Just do that. What one step there, and it's like, and that's the thing. What's scary about it? It's like,
100%.
Right. Yeah.
It really is that simple, and we get in our own way in the process of doing it, and that's what the fitness thing was that helped me learn. That was, all right, how do I get all right, you got this grand goal, you want to be the man, I get it.
Yeah.
How do you do this? Okay, well, you got to eat your protein, you got to eat your carbs, you got to do all the nutrition, and you got to lift and 5-6 days a week.
Yeah.
And repeat this. Don't stop. Don't try new things. Like you said, go over here, go over every day, man. Every day. This is what you got to do. And that's the message of what essentially mastery, growth is repeating these things, these simple principles day in and day out. And that's why I love the title of your podcast, because it really is that. It's what you do daily, and if people were to do that, imagine, what great strides we would be able to do. As the quote says, if we did everything we were capable of doing, we'd astound ourselves, and that's it, but we create roadblocks, and we make up stories for things that don't go well. And then we blame other people, and it's like, no, it's on us to, and yeah, we're not going to be given the best upbringing. We're not going to be given all the gifts and tools and things. We all have our stuff, but it's about seeing past that. It's about recognizing it, doing the work, and focusing on the things you are good at.
No, very true. Very true. So I have to ask now, if there was one thing you could do in the next 5 years to sort of like elevate you to that sort of next level, however you perceive it, what would that one thing be?
That's a big one there. I think getting in a tangible aspect is to get people to, really see how to actualize those goals for themselves, right? How can I affect more people and spread this message of helping others find that mastery, right? So a big part of what I want to do in that 5 years is a lot of, mentorship, a lot of adding value or giving back the things that I learned. And obviously helping people with fitness via the gyms and things like that. And spreading that positive message, or even the message of collecting those small wins for yourself and improving yourself and finding something to pursue and master in. So I think paying that back is kind of where I'm on right now. And I still have a lot of growth to do. I don't think that ever stops, but having a space to do that via the podcast, via gyms, and just spreading that message of helping others find that. Because if I can help one person, by improving by even 1%, 5%, it's like, all right, I can lay my head down at night and go to sleep okay, thinking, all right, I did something.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I hear that. Looks like you might be, I'm going to say it. It looks like you might have to start a YouTube channel at some point in the near future. I'm just saying, Just saying it like but this way. You want to reach a large group of people, help mentor. Hey, just saying.
Right.
Like, look.
Yeah. Yeah. You got a good point. You definitely, YouTube's got such, one of the guys I look up to is Patrick Bet David. I don't know if you heard on Valuetainment.
No, I have not heard of him. Oh.
Yeah. When I listened to him a few times, actually, I started watching him and what his story, what he went through. And he's got a YouTube channel and podcast as well. That helped me a lot. And obviously there's Tony Robbins, these guys and girls that all do so much awesome work. And, even guys like you putting out content, just tilting that trajectory of people and mankind and human beings to the direction of betterment. Right. Things like that is kind of what inspired me, is people like you and these guys that put out that work and get people moving in that direction. So if I can be a part of something great like that, that'd be awesome. Now with YouTube, I don't look that good on camera. So I imagine I have to get some like makeup or something. And I could probably make it happen.
Look, come on now. You're used to this world of makeup. You were an actor for a period of time. It's true. So you are an actor. A thespian, sir. A thespian.
Very true.
Oh, damn. Okay. I have to ask this. This is the big question. Now, okay. Now, if you could take one film and replace the whole cast except one human being with the cast from the Muppets, which film would that be?
Oh man. So if I replace one film with the cast of the Muppets, right?
But it has to be one human being in that cast as well. Which film would that be? And who would the human be? And why?
Man, I think it's a tough one. I have to go with I like the I'm gonna go with I'm gonna do Rocky, man. I think that's the way to go with that, right? Rocky. I'd keep Sylvester Stallone in there, right? And just replace everybody else with these characters. I think it would still be an awesome film, right?
You know what? Like I'll tell you this. Like, okay, if you went with Rocky, or I'll do a slight change. I'll have like the guy who plays Apollo Creed be the human being. So when like he winds up, that's like punches Rocky, like that's not yeah. Pow, pow, pow. Just having this just like no.
That's awesome, man.
Oh.
Yeah.
So okay. Okay. But yeah, can you tell the lovely people how they can reach you, how they can find you out in the web? And
yeah, man. So I'm on podcast ValueVerse on all podcast platforms and www.thevalueverse.com. And then on Instagram at ValueVerse is where I'm at. So anywhere there, check me out and tell me, things that I can do better, or even drop a line and say, hey, I'm always willing to reach out and talk and do whatever I can to point people in the right direction. I'm not a guru or anything, but I can do my best,
Hey man, no, you might not be a guru, but you do hold powerful conversation, my friend. Powerful conversation. And you know what? I thank you for coming on today. You have been outstanding, to say the least.
Oh man, I got to work on my imagination skills with the Muppet cast. I didn't really watch that when I was growing up, but that was awesome. That really made me think.
Hey, look, trust me, when I get you back onto this podcast, and I will get you back on this podcast, I'll give you a little bit of time to work on that.
Yeah, man, I just want to say thanks again for having me on and giving me your time and allowing me that space to open up. You're super fun and make it easy, and you're a great host, man. Thank you.
No, once again, thank you for those compliments. As I said before, earlier in the podcast, I will send you a check, but don't try cashing it in the next 5-10 years. Maybe a little bit longer. like just put it in a frame and go, yes, that's the check for Miwa.
That's
Ta-da!
awesome.
Yeah, I got to say, man, yeah, it's been a pleasure having you on. Thank you for coming on today. It's been a great conversation. And yeah, I look forward to many more conversations. You're on my radar now. You can't get away. You can't get away.
I'm looking forward to it, man. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Kwani. I'd like to say thank you to you, my friends, my life warriors. Thank you for staying. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Yeah, please stay safe, stay well, be awesome, be excellent, be fantastic. Be all the positive bees you can be in this world and then some. Have a great day, guys. Yeah. Peace. And oh, yeah, and we are